Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Not Your Average Bucket List by Only in Your State. This week, we are heading out west to one of my favorite states, New Mexico. I'm here with my co host, Sarah. Hi, Sarah.
Hey, Marissa, how are you?
I'm doing well. Very excited to talk about this place in New Mexico today that I feel like is right up our alley because we're forever talking about places that are otherworldly and like, wow.
Yeah, this is like the place. I
Yeah.
honestly, I if I go to New Mexico soon, I have to go here because as I was scrolling through
Yeah.
pictures, I'm just like jaw on the floor. I have to go. Love it.
Yes. So this is like straight out of a sci-fi movie, very extraterrestrial place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And have you heard of this place before?
No, and just to be totally honest, but it kind of tracks for me. I read the name, I
Hmm.
know the pronunciation, but the canon in my head, I'm like, oh yeah, we're gonna talk about Dave Batista Wilderness today. Like, yeah. Because I see the beastie Bisti. Oh, I lost it. I had it and I lost it. Wait, Bisti De-Na-Zin. Yeah,
I heard it was
Bisti
Bisti
Bisti.
Badlands.
Hi. Okay.
So I've heard
Bisti.
it pronounced both ways. I was deep diving because I was like, don't screw this up, Marissa. You got to get this one
You
right.
always got it. You respect the names much better than I do. I try, and then I immediately panic, and then my head's like, "No, say this, say Batista." But
I
whatever.
do like that we can just call it the Bisti Badlands because that is another
That
nickname.
is a great shorthand.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. I do want to say Bisti. I don't know why. I'm like Bisti, Misty. That's how my brain is doing it. I've heard it's Bisti.
Yeah. Well, but it is based on Navajo language, right? So that's
Yeah.
probably why our like my shorthand of like, oh, Bisti, that's not right.
Yeah.
So
So it is so translation wise, yeah, Bisti means a large area of shale hills, and then the De-Na-Zin part is Navajo for cranes.
mm, okay. Yeah.
So
Oh,
that
okay.
was
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That
Got
tracks.
it.
So yeah, first of all, adding this to my bucket list because this place looks insane. Equal parts fascinating and terrifying. And we could get to that a little bit later, but
Yeah.
I just wanted to kick off with an excerpt from newmexico.org to kind of paint a picture here for people listening to see, to give them an idea of what we're talking about if they've never seen pictures. Also, if you would love to pause this podcast right now and go Google it, I highly recommend. But newmexico.org, fondly known as the Bisti Badlands, it's a breathtaking vista of otherworldly rocks, boulder sculptures, pinnacles, towering mythical totems, and the extraterrestrial vibe that other parts of New Mexico are more famous for. Thought that kind of summed it up nicely.
100%. Also, I love so much that the sandstone rock formations are called hoodoos. I
Yes.
already knew that, but I just love it. I love it so much.
Agreed. Agreed. I think that's why, like, researching this, because yes, I knew what hoodoos were just
Right.
in general, but then I was just kind of like, wait, but what are they really? Which
Mhm.
these giant, thin, tall spires of rock that form by erosion, they're called hoodoos. It's usually soft rock that is topped by harder, less easily eroded stone, turns into like this column spire from the elements, and it just looks absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, and if you're familiar with sandstone, that is a soft like you could almost like scrape it with your nail. So like that's the stuff that's getting eroded by, wind and water and all this stuff and time. And it's just like that's why it's hollowed out and it's almost oh my gosh, it creates the most unusual shapes.
Yeah.
And there are so many different kinds and I can't wait to get to that because throughout these formations, they all have these different looks and like these like little names for all the different ones that there are and it's really really cool. Not to mention that it's just also in an area of the country for me I haven't spent a lot of time in like the Four Corners region. I've never been to the Four Corners. That's so
Hmm.
cool. And so yeah, it's just a part of the country I think has a lot of appeal for me right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. I've never heard of this place before. And I've been to New Mexico a bunch of times.
Wait, you haven't. You've never heard of
I've
it.
never been. No, I've never been. I've
Shocked.
never heard of
Okay.
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is all new to me. And honestly, when I was looking at these photos and I watched this YouTube video of this guy just like going through different areas of the Badlands, and I was just fascinated by the first of all the fact that there are no marked trails. This is
I did see that.
like
Like,
how wild is that?
if you don't have GPS, and honestly, out there, you might not. You need to get like
Yeah.
paper maps. I don't know, a compass. That it makes me nervous already. Like,
Yes.
I get upset whenever I'm on a trail and don't see the next blaze, and I'm like, oh
Yeah.
God, well, I'm lost forever now. And then you're in the
Same.
middle of the desert with no like signage or markings, and you're just in an alien landscape. Oh my God.
Yeah, yeah. No, that I think that really scares me. Just the fact that, first of all, the area itself of the Bisti Badlands, it's like ancient delta land that was 70 million years ago. Basically, it was a swampland and there were
Yeah.
dinosaurs galore all over
Hmm.
the area.
All get
And
out.
yeah. Yeah. So imagine just having it with like just that juxtaposition. Now it's this arid desert, but
Yeah.
70 million years ago, swampland, dinosaurs, scientists still they excavate every year and they're finding fossils up the
That's
wazoo,
amazing.
which I think that's so fascinating. And then just now it's so different from that.
Wow, that is, yeah, that really is something that makes you stand in awe of our, our landscape in the United States because yeah, so there are swamplands out west. This area was underneath an ocean and you can't see it so much because of all the tree coverage and stuff, but whenever you go to like the glacial rocks and things and all the limestone, you can see yeah, you see a bunch of trilobites and things like that because we were underwater.
Yeah,
um
crazy.
so I think that is just so fascinating. Also, in addition to like not having signage, being a prehistoric swamp, basically, this is a 45,000 acre wilderness area,
Mhm.
and you definitely want to bring water.
Yeah.
You got to know that this is serious stuff. If you're out in the middle of nowhere, taking a walk, um, and it's just it can be a challenging environment too because in the springtime it's the windy season, so you get a lot of sandstorms
Mm.
because all of the erosion from the sandstone and all of the like desert region is just gonna like blow up at you. So then you can imagine how the hoodoos are formed. So
Yeah. No, I think yes, definitely a good point. People have to bring water. Also, I was reading it's like 30 miles in to get to where you need to be. This
yep,
is not a very well marked area. You're not this is not like entering into, Yosemite and you have a map to guide you that's provided by National Park Service. This is
right.
like it's a lot of choose your own adventure kind of stuff.
It is. And I saw that there was some like first visit tips that I came across on the wave.info that I thought was really, really helpful. So apparently there are two main washes in the Bisti, not Bisti, God, in the Bisti. They run east to west, with west being downstream, and the northern wash is the Hunter Wash, and the southern wash is the Bisti Wash. And apparently, the main parking area provides access to the Bisti Wash. So if you're a first timer, you should start there, and then one is probably going to be more populated because it's the main parking area, and it'll give you some more markers of like getting back to your car. However, if you want to go to the Hunter Wash, you can access it from just like going through the different formations that are in the area. So the Bisti Wash, there are lots of great photo opportunities. Like I said, it's closer to parking, but you have these formations known as, which we can describe, I don't know now or later, but you got the cracked eggs,
Mm.
you have the rock garden, and then if you explore the hills, there's an area near the Bisti Wings, which is really a great photo spot. Which that's one of my favorites is the wings. I think it's like it almost looks like someone standing in the middle of the desert with wings outstretched behind them. It's so cool.
Yeah.
And then yeah, I think you can access Hunter Wash if you're near the wings area. So there are a
Yeah.
lot of really cool things you can see. But yeah, it's kind of a trek to get there. And
Yeah.
if you're going there for the first time, I'm hearing you should go to the Bisti Wash.
Cool. Okay. Very good information to share. Um, I do know that first of all, we should let people know that this area is free and it's always
Yep.
open. There's like, It's like the rules are there are no rules kind of place.
Yep.
Besides just leave no trace, very important. But
Also, I saw since the wilderness area, motorized vehicles and like mechanical transportation, like once you're in it, those are prohibited. So like mountain bikes, drones, carts, stuff like that.
yeah, that's also very important. Because like yeah, you want to respect this place. Obviously, it's taken many years to form, so we don't want to just be trampling through with our four-wheelers.
Well, also
But
imagine someone taking like a Jeep and ramming it into one of these like hoodoos and just like that would no bueno. No.
I can't imagine it, believe it or not.
Right. Yeah.
But I don't want to. Um, but yeah, the terrain you'll expect like when you get there, the terrain it's a lot of like hard packed silt, sandstone. Sarah mentioned mudstone, gravel. There's even coal. These coal deposits
Mm-hmm.
that it's known for. These it's like coalified wood scattered throughout the park. Can you even call it a park? It's just Badlands, right? It's not
I
really a
think it's a
park.
wilderness area
Okay.
technically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wilderness area.
And speaking of fossils and petrified wood, you are also, unfortunately, prohibited from collecting fossils, petrified wood, building campfires, climbing on the formations that are really delicate, stuff like that. So, in addition to this, uh, because there are, I think, 3 different areas of Navajo land, you are prohibited from trespassing onto their lands as well, I think.
Okay.
I'm not sure if those are marked though, so you'd have to have a map and be able to see like which spots they are.
Okay. Yeah, that's also very important. I would say just because exactly what you said, it's the worst when you get out to a place and your phone stops working and you're kind of just like, "Oh, what do I do?"
Yep.
So, don't do that here
No.
because you could be in a lot of trouble, like serious trouble
Yeah.
because especially if nobody else is around, bring a map, fill up with water in the car, bring some snacks too, just in case, and then just, yeah, have the map in case you're going into an area that you really shouldn't be,
Yeah.
just for that as well. But
Yeah.
yeah,
And I do think that it would be easy if you are into nature photography or even just like an amateur photographer to just like really spend so much time out here because each of these formations that are spread across the wilderness area are just so unique.
yeah,
Um, and so that kind of on that note of like being prepared, like you might be wandering for way longer than you intend to,
right.
because oh my gosh, I just want to go through all of these. I know I mentioned the eggs and the wings, but there's also one called the manta ray. I don't know if you've seen that.
I
It's
did
Yeah,
not.
I'll send you this link and we can add it in the show notes. um
Cool.
the rock garden is really sweet. It's just like a bunch of rocks that are all laid out on the ground from erosion and stuff, just little bumps. The 2 windows, the collared hoodoo, the oh my gosh, it's the name and the pronunciation is De-Na-Zin, De-Na-Zin Arch.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's a whole bunch of different, almost like a scavenger hunt. You could
Yeah.
find all of these in your trip, and I think it would be so fun.
Yeah, that's actually a great idea to make like a little checklist for that
Yeah,
area if it doesn't already exist. Because I would hate to go and miss something, like the cracked eggs for me are like stunning.
it
Uh,
is Alien. It is that scene in
like
Alien.
how do these things exist? It's so wild.
I know. It really does look like a bunch of alien eggs,
Yeah,
just like even like on little pedestals. I don't know what it is that the weird formation, whatever had to happen. I don't know. It's just bizarre. I love
yeah.
it.
They're like these spherical rock formations that now have this I guess designation, the cracked eggs, land of the cracked eggs.
Mm-hmm.
And they're so weird. They're like
They
giant
are.
dinosaur eggs, and it's almost like some of the pieces have cracked off. So
It
it looks
is. Prove me wrong. Aliens hatched there. I will stand by that. I have zero evidence aside from photos. Um, but I do see that it's also a flat 2 miles from the main Bisti trailhead, so it's easily accessible. Get there, see the eggs by the parking lot.
yeah, so cool. And
Yeah.
speaking of aliens, did you see the other rock formation, the alien throne?
No.
Okay. So another one that's like maybe we're just like uncovering something that should be in our local lore and legend season.
Right.
But the alien throne is this giant hoodoo formation that it's basically like a almost a bunch of these like rock spires going up, and then there's a flat one on top that looks like a seat. Like it looks like a giant seat.
Yeah.
Very weird, but it's just beautiful. Like these rock formations I think are so magical.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
That's
it's
one of my
wild.
favorite things about being out west is these rock formations and how just either giant or strange they are. And this just has them in, just dozens of things you can see.
Yeah.
Um, Not to mention, like, even though it is kind of out there, it's in the middle of the desert, it is only 3 hours from Albuquerque. So you could fly in, take a trip up here. There are
Cool.
nearby towns of Farmington and I think also, what's the other one? If I remember, I want to say it's like Jefuano or, gosh, where'd I put it?
Still in New
Oh, yeah.
Mexico?
Hmm?
Still in New Mexico, these
Still in New
towns?
Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an hour south of Farmington and Huerfano, I think. So yeah, it's not like you're so far out in the middle of nowhere to where you couldn't get to a gas station. You
Yeah.
know, like those signs whenever you're in the middle of the desert are like next gas 300 miles. Good
Yeah.
luck. um, so yeah, and plus there are some other stuff in the area too. If you want to, we'll get to that towards the end. But it's not like it's so desolate that you're not going to see anything else. Even though when you're out there and you're walking through, it's going to feel like you're absolutely alone in the
Yeah.
middle of an alien landscape.
Yeah. Terrifying. And then also, it's also dark sky designated park
Mm-hmm.
too. So I can only imagine no light pollution. Once the sun goes down, that in and of itself. Also, please be mindful, everyone, that if you're out there and the sun goes down, like, just make sure it's going to be pitch black. That's why they've designated this a dark sky park.
Yes, that is the point.
Yeah. So, but also, if you're brave enough to be out there in the dark, I'm sure you will have probably some of the best stargazing you've ever seen in your life.
I see a lot of these formations, the cracked egg especially, like people are taking photos and you can see like the Milky Way overhead. It's just
Mm,
gorgeous. Um,
yes.
yeah, I would love to go. Oh my gosh. You know, I would love to go to a dark sky wilderness area that's open 24/7 and it's not really a park, there's no entrance. However, I would fully line myself with LEDs should I feel in
Mm,
trouble and I can like
yeah.
turn it on immediately. And I'm just
Love
like this glowing beacon in the middle of the desert just in case.
attracting all the wildlife.
I would have air horns.
Okay, fair.
Yeah.
Uh, Speaking of wildlife, I think what I was most fascinated with is that despite the fact that this is very arid desert,
Mm-hmm.
remote, there's still a ton of wildlife in the area. Reptiles, tons of birds. You'll have small mammals. There are coyotes, pronghorn antelope, lizards, and then they're saying like birds of prey too in there. Just
Really?
like,
Okay.
yeah.
That's
So yeah,
crazy.
sometimes you might not be alone,
Oh
even though you
gosh.
think you
So
are.
growing up, I had fears of earthquakes, of quicksand, of all these things that haven't really interfered with my life, but also Gila monsters. I was convinced I was going to die by one because
Oh my goodness.
they're just like so pretty and vibrant. I had like an ocarina that was a little Gila monster. I thought it was so cute. And then I learned how deadly they were. And like they move fast too for little stubby guys.
Oh
They're
my
not like slow
gosh.
moving, like can't trust them. They broke my heart.
Oh boy. Well, we need you to make your LED suit, just to kind of ward these.
Chainmail LED. Um, I mean, they're in New Mexico, right? Gila monsters. I bet you. Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I was just fascinated by these types of wildlife. The like, there's a lot still, vegetation galore,
Oh my
so
gosh.
for it to
Yeah.
be empty, like,
Yeah. Having
mm,
antelopes. Is that what you said, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. That's wild to me. Like, where are they getting their stuff?
yeah.
Um, just like shrub grass, shrub
Where are they getting
grass,
the
and little.
nutrients from?
I'll find one. I'll get the answer. Don't you worry.
Oh
That's
man.
awesome to know, though. Like, You wouldn't expect it. I'm sure all sorts of bugs and scorpions and spiders.
Yeah.
Oof.
Oh boy, snakes. Yikes. Did
Yeah.
you happen to find anything about camping in this area? Because I
Like
was trying
whether
to,
or not it's allowed?
yeah,
No, I didn't.
I didn't really either. And so that's why I was just like, I wonder if this is not something that people can camp in, maybe because it's so protected. Um, but I'm sure because it's BLM land. So I was like, BLM you can
Yeah, it
usually
is.
just set up for free. So yeah.
Okay. According to farmington.org, you can.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
You can camp in the Bisti area, Bisti Badlands. Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Pack it in, pack it out.
but
There's
there are
probably
no
nothing.
developed campsites or facilities. It's
Right.
basically it's up to you. Like good
Right.
luck.
Very
Pack
primitive.
in, pack out.
Yeah.
But the one thing they did say, I saw no campfires. So maybe it's one of those things where yeah, you can camp, but you gotta be pretty tidy about what you
Yeah.
have.
This would probably be a cool place to if they allow, parking, overnight parking to have like a camper van to
Yeah.
where like you could sleep in the camper van, still hike during the day and stuff, still see the sky at night, but
Oh, how gorgeous would that be? Yeah. Or even do like the pop out tents from the back of a van or a car.
mm,
Yeah,
yeah.
that'd be great.
I would love to. So yeah, what you were saying about the petrified wood and stuff too, like you can't nobody can don't take anything in and out. Don't touch the rocks. Don't
Also,
bring
if
anything
it's
back.
anything like the petrified forest, you're going to be cursed. So don't.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly believe in stuff like that, and I'm not about to risk it. Not for a piece of wood on my shelf.
No, no, definitely not.
Yeah.
Um, so I did discover there are four main formations in the Bisti Badlands, and this is an order from oldest to newest. I just wanted to. I didn't realize that there are going to be like these different like rock like sequences. So they start with the Fruitland Formation, the Kirtland Formation, the Ojo Alamo Formation, and the Nacimiento Formation.
Oh,
Um, and that's where all of the little things I was going through, like the colored hoodoos and the conversing hoodoos and things like that, they're all like separated into these different rock formations, which is cool.
very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think these little areas within the park, uh, the ones that people are like, oh, this is like the mushroom garden, and it's just like
Yep.
all these rocks that look like mushrooms, or
Mm-hmm.
like the cracked eggs, or there's like one area that's just all it's like streaked with color, like red and gray and
Yeah.
white, and it just looks beautiful. And I think what fascinated me the most about this area is that I feel like each section is kind of very different from the last. This isn't just
Yeah.
like, like not I'm not trying to, say anything badly about Grand Canyon, but you know what you're getting with the Grand Canyon. It's
Mm-hmm.
a Grand Canyon.
That's the tagline. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But I feel like here you're getting so much stuff, different rock formations, different types of rocks. You can see like what erosion has done, maybe even some
Yes.
dinosaur fossils. I mean, it's like a really neat place.
I mean, I'd feel like a kid in a candy store because whenever I have like an outlook or overlook, and there's something unique to see, like a certain formation or I don't know a tree or whatever, I'm like, "Ooh, this is amazing!" You get that little dopamine rush. Here, one after another, you have all these different things that are just really gonna delight you. So I don't know. I'm booking my trip to Albuquerque as soon as I can because I want to take a trip up to Bisti. So
Yeah.
if spring is the windy season and you get sandstorms, and summer just gonna be hot, it's the
Mhm.
desert.
Yes.
When would you when would you go visit these Badlands?
I mean, out of the two seasons left, I would probably choose fall.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I
Why?
see in September it's still in like the 80s, a high of 80. So it's still like
Okay.
your weather. That's,
Okay.
you'd survive.
What about you? You do winter?
No, it cold. I mean, I had a very had a very bad experience in Roswell, New Mexico, in an RV that was out of propane, and I could not heat.
Oh
um,
no.
it's cold apparently, is what
Yeah.
I learned. So I don't know. I think yeah, maybe like fall, tail end of summer, or like early spring. Like I'm not sure when the windy season really picks up, but
Mhm.
um yeah, just not midsummer. That's a lot. I
No.
don't want to die of thirst and, you know.
No, and also just like you have to bring sunscreen. There's really no shade here. It's not,
Yeah,
you're not going to find many trees.
I
You're going
would
to find,
be yeah, no trees. You get
yeah,
the hoodoos. I would
yeah.
basically be a Marlon Brando in Island of Dr. Moreau. Not sure if you've ever seen it, where he has like all the white wrapped around him in like a little tent. That would be me. Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
I will say, before we do, you want to hit on like some of our Facebook feedback, because I thought we got a couple of really great comments about
Yeah.
the Bisti Badlands.
Yes.
Um,
Absolutely.
so I have a question for you. I'm not sure if you saw this one comment, but I didn't know if it was a troll comment or if it was real. Snoozing? What's that? Was that a typo?
Yeah. I think it meant, I think it meant to be snowing.
Sorry. I thought it was something outdoorsy.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I think it meant to write snowing.
Glad we could immortalize that. All right. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Well, so stupid.
Oh man. This is gonna be like our Wisconsin episode all over again.
That's all right. There's joy in exploration of the country, even if I'm a little bit stupid. Um. Okay.
No,
So
I had to look at that one a couple times too. It's you like need to imagine context in order to
well, it
get it.
reminded me of there are some like cross country skiing and like dog sledding terms that are kind of like that. Like there's a shorthand for it. I'm like, oh, maybe that was something someone was doing. They're like snowshoeing through the desert or something. That's not the case. Okay. Um. Anyway, I will say, there were a lot of comments like, we used to drive up here in our youth and go sunbathing, and I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, that is next level.
Yes.
I'm not sure if that'd be something I could do, really.
But also like kind of smart if you're, it's private, it's
Yeah,
quiet, you get a ton of sun. Now it's very much, that comment was back in the 70s, so this now you got to wear some sunscreen, which
yeah,
uh
yeah,
yeah, my favorite comment from King B on Facebook: don't get lost, have water and sunscreen. Just like
yeah.
straight to the point,
Love it.
no BS.
Um, I did like the better carry a compass or leave a trail of breadcrumbs from Gwen. A little bit sarcastic, but also true. Like,
Yeah,
no joke. Um,
true.
oh man. Okay.
Yeah, the other one, that like once I was researching this and then was reading these comments on our Facebook page, Shalita, no road signs, get out of there before dark. And I was like,
That's fair.
okay, yeah, 100%, because that would be me. I shared with you during our national parks episode how I
Oh,
got stuck in Big Bend and it was pitch black, and never again will I make that mistake. It was
that gave me such
terrifying.
anxiety. Like, what if they
Yeah.
didn't? What if those like ladies didn't find you walking?
Yeah.
I've heard too many. So I have a cousin who grew up in Tucson, Arizona, and her stories are just like, yeah, we got a bunch of people out and we went into the desert and we were camping, and then someone just approached our car and we had to hide and be quiet. I'm like, why are you saying this so nonchalantly?
What?
There's a like this like vibe of there are like desert men or like people who are just kind of like out cruising through the desert and getting into trouble and stealing your stuff and committing crime. I
Right.
don't know. Maybe she was pulling my leg. I don't think so, but not for me. Nope.
No, yeah, I do know that when I was living in my van, my camper van, and traveling, I think that's where like a lot of my anxiety developed, because
Oh
as
no.
beautiful and amazing as that experience was, it's not all that Instagram shows it to be, because
Mm,
there are a lot of safety concerns just in general, and you have to have your head on a swivel. You can't just be
yeah.
parking randomly. I would always make sure to be either around people or under a light or something. which is
Yes.
why, like, I don't know if I would camp in this place because really, BLM land in general, it's massive. You said this is over 40,000 acres, the
Yeah.
Bisti Badlands. So that's you're making a choice to be out there. Like if you're on your
Yeah.
own, that's yeah.
You have to be comfortable creatively problem solving. I think that kind of goes with, look, you can bumble F your way through travel, right? And like
Yeah.
sometimes a train is late or the plane is canceled or something happens and the hotel is skeezy and you got to go. But so it's great to always be able to creatively problem solve. But something like this, if you get out there and you have a flat tire and no one's around and you have nowhere to go, you got to have a contingency plan or 20.
Yes.
So with that being said, though, because we mentioned that Albuquerque is 3 hours away, but there are also some other attractions nearby. So if you are doing a road trip and going through, they're not incredibly close, but close enough you can work and kind of couple them together. So 2 hours away from the park or the wilderness area is the Chaco Culture National Historical Park. That's 2 hours
Mhm.
away, and it has ancestral Puebloan sites. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it has like a lot of great examples of ruins and architecture. And they have a couple that are just like really cool that you can explore and actually go into the pueblos and stuff. And there was also the Salmon Ruins Museum. That is private. It is not the same park, but you just pay an entry and go in and explore. Um, there's also 2 hours away the Bandera Volcano and Ice Cave. That's a little bit more tourist trappy to where like they're advertising it along the highway,
Right.
but um, all the reviews I've seen was like, look, it's actually worth a stop. It's a short trail. You get to see an ice cave. There's a little volcano.
Mhm.
Great. And then there's also Mesa Verde National Park, and that's 3 hours away up in Colorado, right? So just cross through the four corners and head up to the national park. So a
Very,
lot to do.
very cool. Yeah, that's awesome. I was just Googling the ice cave. Yeah, what's wild is I've been to the Four Corners before. That little
How'd it feel?
the pla felt great, magical.
Powerful? Yeah.
Um, yeah, but I don't know why I didn't go to a lot of these places in the area. I was probably like on a mission going somewhere in my
That's
travels.
That's hard. And then like
Yeah,
got to beat the time you have in your head. It's like, well, I can get there in 4 hours, but maybe 3:45.
right.
You never
And it's
know.
also like I didn't like to drive at night either, just in
Mm-hmm.
case, like I would break
Yeah.
down or something would happen. I didn't want to be stuck somewhere in the dark, and so I would always just try to get to my destination before. But I think I missed a lot of these really awesome places that I'm gonna have
Yeah.
to do like another tour part two.
I
Um,
know. I'm feeling like
yeah,
I haven't driven across the country and like been in this area since like 2018. So I think I need to, but maybe this time not like travel all the way out, but take a flight to somewhere and then only
yeah.
drive 5 hours instead of the whole kit and caboodle.
Oof.
That's a that's a bit much.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all in all, Bisti Badlands, we're both adding this to our list. We should
Yes.
make like a Siskel and Ebert type of two thumbs up, but two compasses up. I
So
don't know.
many.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah, two dogs up. I will say, I think I've said it before, but I really want to make a list where we're committing to going to these places, and let's put a timer on it by 2030. If we don't go to any of them, shame on us.
mm, I love that.
Everyone can be disappointed.